Good morning, folks. This is BelGeode, and we are on day one of FlightSimCon. This is Saturday, June 10th, 2017. For this particular video, what I wanted to do is put up what I recorded earlier, which I call the developer show and tell. Basically, each developer was given 5 minutes to talk about the new product that they're going to be offering, and then they moved on to the next developer. I should caution you, I did miss the first person that presented, but the information should be in the show notes, or you can watch FlightSimGuy's live stream coverage, which has been saved. All right, but without further ado, let's see what the developers had to offer us this morning.
Hi everybody, my name is Laura Laban. I am CEO and co-founder of a company called Flight Development Studio. We are the people behind a simulator that you may not have heard about. It's called Infinite Flight. And the reason why you may not have heard about it is because it runs on iOS and Android. We have a very powerful solo and multiplayer mode. We have a flight model comparable to what you could see today on PC. More than 30 airplanes, 15 regions, hundreds of liveries. We have things like autopilot with full auto land, advanced features like weight and balance, even things that you are seeing on PC today like PBR, so physically based rendering, 64-bit support. We have a pretty big community, very large, lots of fan groups. We have virtual airlines organized around the app. And we do, on our multiplayer system, organize weekly official events based on things that are happening in the real world. So to kind of focus the conference here, multiplayer, it's built in, super easy to use. You just log in and start playing. You can be a pilot or a controller. You have an example of the interface here. You can be a controller for the tower, ground, approach, departure, center. And we follow the real-world procedures, so you can choose ILS approaches, you can request radar vectors, and we have different server levels. So on the expert server, which is the expert server, if you want to fly seriously, we have people who we train who are vetted by the company. So they have power to moderate and ghost people if they're not behaving properly. And also an important fact for this conference is we have an API, so two types of API. One is local, so you can connect to the app itself via TCP and control things like the flight axis, the commands like the brakes, flaps, anything that's possible in the app can be done through the API. And we are getting developer feedback, and there's several apps that have been developed to connect joysticks to the app through this interface. We also have a web API to get the live server data, so if you want to get all the flight information in real time, you can get that. We have an app today, liveflightapp.com, made by an intern who basically shows all the flights in real time. The team, pretty small, 4 developers and a bunch of other people around us. We are super reactive to things. Basically, the development is super iterative, so we listen to feedback and we kind of orient everything around that. So what's next? I wanted to show you what we're working on. So obviously mobile, people expect that the quality is going to be sort of low, but I just want to show you what we can do today on mobile.
That's on mobile?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
That is pretty cool. Oh, look at that.
So this is Infinite Flight. This version is the new one coming out in summer 2017. What you just saw actually runs 60 frames per second, full settings on iPad Pro, latest generation on Android devices with anti-aliasing and everything that you can try to turn on. We have 15 meter per pixel satellite imagery. We have an entirely new rendering for sky and atmosphere and terrain. We have live weather, up to
Satellite
levels.
imagery, that's ortho.
We have advanced flight planning features, engine stop and start, fuel management. So this is all planned for the summer.
Different implementation.
So this is the regions we're going to have initially. We have 15 meter imagery on all the orange or kind of yellowish parts. And don't worry, it's not going to be a 50 gig download. It's actually just 30 or 50 megs, depending on your platform.
Wow.
And it's going to be streamed. There's a downside. You have to be connected, but we're working on for the next version to have some kind of caching possible for predefined flights. So that's it for the presentation. We are available today on the App Store and the Google Play Store. You can find us on Instagram and on Twitter. You can check out our community site to find out about the community, what we do, and what's it about. I have the app today, the new version, on my phone. So if you want to check it out, or even talk to me about the flight model and how things are in the app, come find me in the Infinite Flight T-shirts. So that's it, and enjoy the conference.
All right, good deal. Yeah, right.
Hey everybody, I'm Stasi Koulis. I'm the president and founder of Mindstar Aviation. This one. There we go. So we're here today representing our software, which is a variety of avionics suites. Started with the G1000, moved on to 430s, 530s, ProLine 21s, lots of different autopilots, lots of different avionics. Basically, we are a developer of software that goes into many different flight simulators. So what you'll find today is we are representing a Redbird simulator in our booth. You'll find the Noble Flight Sim people here. They also have a really nice looking simulator that also uses our software. So a lot of different simulator manufacturers around the world are using software that we've created. We just kind of stay in the background and let the simulator manufacturers take the foreground.
There goes Austin from Laminar Research.
There we go. So some of the list of the products that we create here, you'll see the G1000 flight deck and all the other products there. We also have a separate company called Real Nav Data. We create, through professional real-world navigation data, create a database monthly called Real Nav Data. It supports our G1000 and our GNS products. It allows us to do everything from ILS approaches to RNAV approaches, WAS approaches, built into our avionics. So it gives us a lot more granularity than was available with some of the other things that were available at the time. And it's also real world, so all our real world simulator manufacturers that get certifications from the FAA or other aviation authorities can get their proper certifications with it. Connectivity-wise, we have a GPS VR product which allows your simulator to connect to your iPad to ForeFlight for use with real world, learning how to use the iPad in flight. And then Airspace VR is very similar to what PilotEdge does, but in different parts of the country. And a little view of what we're demonstrating upstairs is our G1000 software. It all runs inside FSFX and Prepared.
That's nice.
And all versions, not quite yet for Prepared 4, but that's coming.
It's an actual physical thing.
And when you marry that with our Real Nav Data product, you have a really good suite of applications. Our products are available for home use, on desktop sims, all the way up to professional use. We have different licensing models for different types of simulations. But you'll find that the implementations are really good with all the companies that use our software.
We saw that yesterday.
One of the things that I'd like to announce, during the show and for a few days after the show, we're offering a 20% discount on all of our avionics products, not the simulator itself, so I'm not trying to show everybody a simulator in our booth and say a 20% discount on that big piece of hardware we brought. But for our home use avionics software, we're offering a 20% discount. There's nothing special you need to do. All you have to do is go to our website. There's no code that you have to enter. We're offering this through the entire show and for a few days next week. One of the interesting things that I like to talk about, and I'll be talking about this more on Sunday, tomorrow, during my longer presentation, is that I started in flight simulation with FlightSim version 1. When it first came out, I loved this thing. It was green screen, and it was just this horrible looking simulation, but as an aviation enthusiast, it was great. Since then, I've become a real world pilot. Today, I fly a Diamond DA-42 Twin Star, and there it is right there. Everything I learned in flight simulation made it possible to get to the point where I can fly this thing. So I made a point to try to tell everybody, and I will talk about this again tomorrow, if you've ever had more of an interest in taking your flight simulation efforts and taking it to becoming a real-world pilot, this is the way to do it. I can guarantee you that everybody I've taught in the real airplane makes a very easy transition if they've spent time in a flight simulator. In fact, flight simulator people know the avionics better than real-world pilots do. And all of you guys know what I'm talking about. There are features in these avionics that a real-world pilot will look at and not have any idea how it works. But somebody who's been simming for a long time knows exactly how it works. So it's not a big leap to get to flying the real thing. I love the Twin Star. This is one of my favorite planes to fly. And it's actually sitting over at Signature right now with a brand new paint job.
Sweet.
So come over and see us at our booth. See the Redbird simulator with our software on it. Come see the Noble simulator with our software on it. I don't know if I'm leaving somebody out who also has our software on their simulators, but we're happy to talk to anybody about what we do, all our software, and all our avionics. Thank you for coming, and I'll hand this over to Keith Smith.
Mine is actually fine.
Hello, hello.
You're not live streaming.
My name is Keith Smith. I'm from PilotEdge, and we provide ATC for flight simulators. If you've been flying online for any amount of time, you'll know there's a lot of different flight simulation communities out there, and each one focuses on a different thing, whether it's FlightSim, IAVO, Infinite Flight, Boston Virtual. There's a lot of communities out there, and we are one of those communities. Our biggest claim to fame, I suppose, is that we provide ATC on a scheduled basis. So 15 hours a day, 7 days a week, in some parts of the United States, we provide ATC. We've been around since October 1st, 2011. We've been doing this for quite some time, and I wanted to use this platform to let you know what's coming up for 2017. It's quite a bit to go through, and hopefully a kick-ass video that will work, and we'll see how it goes. Okay, so we have some software changes, we have some airspace changes. We get hassled all the time about what's going on with our airspace, so I'm happy to make some announcements about that today. And then we have some changes to our subscription options as well. Some quick software news. We finally have support for FSX Steam Edition, both for standalone mode and if it's been installed with FSX co-installed at the same time. So historically we've had problems with that configuration. That's now squared away. We have P3D version 4 support is now complete as well. For X-Plane 11, which is my platform of choice, we have had full flight traffic for a while, but people have not been as familiar with it. So you can push data from PilotEdge into full flight and see traffic in real time from our sim. We have simultaneous dual comm radio support, so if you're a sadist and you like to use both radios at the same time, you can absolutely do that. Probably the biggest feature that we just introduced in the last couple of weeks is this notion of ground clamping. So who flies online at the moment? A lot of you. Who has had the daunting experience of seeing planes either floating 50 feet in the air or not seeing them at all, or maybe just the tail sticking out of the ground? Yes. Right. So that is a problem which is very hard to solve. I've been thinking about it for 4 years, and recently on a flight to Savannah on a CRJ 200, I stared out the window for 45 minutes and thought about nothing but this. And came up with a way of solving it with the existing data that we have. And we have a good implementation of ground clamping at last. So the sim will refuse to draw any planes below ground. And if it gets the sense that that plane, which is sitting 50 feet above the ground, that isn't moving, should be on the ground, then it will clamp it down to the ground. And so we'll take a look at what that looks like in this upcoming video. We've gotten rid of the legacy CSL models. So whatever models you've been using on VATSIM and that we were using as well from 2003 onwards, are the ones that look terrible, that don't have any lighting, animations, shading, none of that good stuff. We've gotten rid of all of those and we've moved to an all high-def CSL model set. There's a model set that just came out recently from Bluebell on xt.org, which contains 80 or so planes, a total of 1,800 liveries, and they're, I'd say, medium fidelity models, but they do support lights and shading and animation. So we have incorporated those and incorporated the gear offsets that are required to get the ground clamping right. So we have a custom version of the Bluebell CSLs, plus we have our own high-def CSL library, which is what this video is going to be showing. Keep in mind, these are not native airplanes, these are actually multiplayer aircraft, so this is what you'd be seeing if you were flying online. Yes, the flaps are going to rotate.
That was pretty cool.
here getting those blades to spin down slowly. That's, again, that is not planes that we are flying in the sim ourselves. That's what you are seeing in terms of other planes around you. So that was X-Plane 11 with PBR running in all its glory. And it really does change the game in the sim. When you've got PBR running and yet you have these old model sets, it's really jarring. And you're reminded constantly that it's not real when you start seeing planes that are floating in the air that don't look realistic. When you see planes that look like this, it becomes a whole lot more immersive. Okay, so airspace changes. We currently support two subscription models. We have Los Angeles Center area, which is where we first launched, 43 towered airports, about 400 miles by 400 miles. People who fly jets felt like a big shark in a small fishbowl and were getting annoyed that they kept bumping into the sides of our airspace, so they begged us to release a bigger chunk of airspace. And we did. We released the Western US, which covers 5 ARTCCs, but only those towered airports right there. Mixture of Class Bravo, a couple of Class Charlies, and 1 or 2 Class Deltas. And that's gone moderately well, but that really does cater more towards jet pilots instead of GA pilots. So our GA community has said, can you add more fields to the Western US? And this is what we plan on doing. So Western US version 2 is now in process. We've requested all the data we need from the FAA, and we will be adding these fields iteratively over the next year. The first 3 being Amarillo, El Paso, and Farmington, which is between Denver and Phoenix, and those should be released probably in the next month or 2.
So they're expanding to the
As these
Midwest.
fields are developed, we'll be getting them released on the network. So if you are a Western US subscriber, you'll be able to get access to all these fields when they're completed. I'm not going to go through the list of airports right now, don't really have the time for it. If you come and see us in the booth, we'll show you a Google map and point out the fields that are coming. Okay, so a good summary for this, for the roadmap, is that we will have 43 towered airports just like ZLA has. We are going to cover all the Class Bravo. In fact, we already cover all the Class Bravo airports. We will cover all the Class Charlie airports. That's a simple way to think about it. Plus 23 Class Deltas scattered around. The idea is that you'll be able to fly a GA airplane for no more than about 100 miles before you hit the next towered airport at the most. We also have our new subscription options coming up. So right now, to get access to the Western US, it's an add-on. You have to have a ZLA subscription, and then you bolt on the Western US subscription. That is going to change in the next month or so. There'll be a standalone option for Western US only for the same price as a ZLA subscription. There'll be an annual option for the same price as a ZLA only subscription. And if you have a Western US subscription, you will be allowed to overfly ZLA. So we don't set up an electric fence or anything like that. So you can overfly ZLA, you just can't land there. And of course, you still can have the combination subscription if you like. All right, that'll do it. Thanks for your time. Have a great show.
All right. Hello, everyone. How are you doing today?
All right.
Who of you, raise your hand if you know what FSFX packages is.
Heard of it.
Quite a few of these. Okay, cool. All right, so I'm here to present our latest software that is Chaseplane. Again, who knows what Chaseplane is?
Yes.
Quite a few of you. All right, cool. So I'll present for you guys and also for the people who don't know what Chaseplane is. So I present myself. I'm Kevin Minar. I'm one of the founders of FSFX Packages with Michael, which is like behind somewhere here. We're 2 in this business. We started doing visual effects for flight simulator. All right, so wing condensation on the wings of some aircraft. Some of you might have seen some screenshots on the webs of this volumetric lighting, some of the with the 777 and 737 and some aircraft like this. But we recently moved into the camera software department. Who uses a camera software that is not Chaseplane in their simulator? All right, not a lot. Who uses a camera software at all in their simulators? Okay, not enough. There are benefits, a lot of benefits of using a camera software in the simulator. A lot of things you can't do in ESP. X-Plane is more versatile in so many ways than ESP when it comes to the camera system. But I see Austin right here. But ESP is very limited, and we try to remove those fences on the ESP platform. And for some of you who don't know, ESP is the combination like FSX, V3D, V3 or V4. So what I'm showing you right now is a video release. Oh, there's music too. Chaseplane loop. It's a new camera system, so it removes the boundaries of the camera system that's built into the sim by default. It has a very cool user interface, so very easy use for a lot of people. And you can share your presets, your camera. You can save cameras in the list and share them with your friends through the community. You have also static cameras, which is a new thing you can't do in the sim by default, is placing basically a camera in the world somewhere that you position, and you can call it whenever you want. So let's say you have a terminal and you want a camera in the terminal, positioned in the camera completely independent of the aircraft. So if the aircraft moves, the camera is not moving inside of the terminal. So that's not something you can do usually on the ESP platform. Let's play this again, and if that does anything. Right, so quick breakthrough. Three columns with different camera presets. And then we have controls in the interface. If you want to move with sliders, you can also use your joystick, your keyboard, your mouse, any controls you're used to. Community, virtual doors also. You can also have doors that you go through virtually on the outside of the airplane, and then you appear inside of the cockpit, which is a very nice feature.
That is a nice feature. Huh.
Full control also of independent inputs. So let's say you have a joystick controller with some thumbsticks that you want to use to make cinematic views. You can slow that down and increase the inertia when you use the joystick. But if you want it very swift and very fast using a keyboard, you can also determine this speed for the keyboard specifically. So a lot of things that would take too much time here to show, but if you guys come up to our booth, we'll show you the interface. We'll give you a controller you can play with, and we'll try to convince you all that the camera system is the best thing you can have for the sim.
Actually, no, I think
all right.
Frugal
That's all for me already. Oh, Austin is next.
Less annoying, contact echo. Can y'all hear me okay back here? No. Use the mic. Okay, fine. All right, I'll use the mic. Okay, so when I first started X-Plane about 20 years ago, don't worry, I'm going to fast forward to X-Plane 11 real quick here. When I first started X-Plane 11 about 20 years ago, 2 decades, I didn't know how to imitate the way an airplane flies. And since I didn't know how to imitate the flight of an airplane, I did the only way I knew how, which is to break the airplane down into a whole bunch of little pieces, find the air velocity acting on each piece, look up the coefficients of lift, drag, and moment of the airfoil, and then build up the forces across the airplane. That was 20 years ago when I started figuring out how airplanes would fly by interacting the geometry of the airplane with the air. Fast forward 20 years, and X-Plane has been used to predict how airplanes in the future would fly, even if those airplanes haven't actually been built yet. And we're arriving today at the what I believe is the ultimate implementation of this. A billionaire named Martin Rothblatt is building an electric vertical takeoff and landing airplane to transplant 3D printed organs to people that need organ transplants, and she needs a way to rapidly and zero emissions affordably move 3D printed organs to helipads at hospitals across the country. And she needs a simulator to see how this is going to work, how we can build electric VTOL airplanes to do this and literally eliminate the backlog of organ transplant people waiting in hospital beds for new organs. And so this, to me, is like almost, in a way, X-Plane reaching its ultimate, where we use the flexible power of X-Plane to predict a possible future that is better than what we have now. And I'm not allowed yet to disclose the specifics of what this airplane is going to look like, but hopefully this year, I'll be able to put this thing online. You'll be able to download it and fly it yourself. And when you've flown this airplane, you'll really start to hopefully understand that X-Plane isn't about just imitating what we've seen before, but instead interacting the air with the geometry of an aircraft to predict a new possible future. And that future is getting fascinating, more fascinating with each year. While the X-Plane blade element theory is remaining impressive, what we're doing with it is taking really things to a new level. We brought a good part of our staff to this conference, and later on this morning, I think around 10:30 or something like that is when our presentation is, we're going to go into all the details. I'm not going to try and go over every detail now in 5 minutes. We have our full presentation coming up in just an hour or so. But on top of this blade element theory model, we are putting an interface that makes it accessible and fun for everybody to use. Tyler Young, an incredible new user interface that makes the whole thing so much easier to access. Ben Sutnick with a scenery system that is absolutely mind-blowing, obviously 64-bit, and we've been for the better part of 5 or 6 or 7 years now, for just absolute maximum flexibility and freedom. I just brought on a new guy whose only job is to increase frame rate at X-Plane.
Every time I hear that, I love it.
Because that's the way you use the Oculus Rift and the Steam Vive without getting sick from the delay. So now what we're doing is we are taking this new interface that we see here, new airliners, the MD-80 and the 737, major updates to the fleet. Well, that's aircraft updating. High quality and all default aircraft as we update the aircraft, and high performance with a new guy whose only goal is to increase frame rate and eliminate micro stutters and pauses. So the simulator runs completely smoothly all the time to make it accessible, FAA certifiable, and accurate in predicting what new airplanes can do. So X-Plane, you know, as we move to these airliners and physically based rendering and FMOD sound, you know, we're out recording the sounds of actual airplanes to get those sounds into the simulator. I was part of that with the Beach Baron and the King Air about 2 weeks ago, which we'll be seeing in FMOD soon enough in X-Plane. All the sounds and the physically based rendering where the light actually interacts with the paint and it's either absorbed or reflected or scattered based on the color and direction of the incoming light and the type of material on the airplane the light is bouncing off of. As we get into all the physics-based rendering, physics-based rendering and the FMOD sound, it really starts to look and feel just like the real airplane. And obviously, just like Keith, I'm flying my Lance Revolution around. I've owned reciprocating and turbine aircraft, and I'm constantly flight testing them, taking what I've learned from flight testing the real airplane, loading it into X-Plane to make sure X-Plane flies exactly like the real airplane does. And we're building a platform that looks and feels just like the real airplane. But as always, we're not stopping with imitating what we've seen. X-Plane is remaining X-Plane, which is letting you put aircraft into Plane Maker, experiment with your dreams of flight, and see where they can take you in the future. And that's not changing. It's never going to change as long as I'm around. So I'm not going to take up any more of your time, partially because I want my staff to take credit for all their contributions, and they're up here at 10:20 or 10:30 or whenever that is. Okay, so brief, but thank you. Oh, all right, there's some other stuff. You'll be seeing it later. Sorry, I was supposed to talk about it.
So there we go, folks. Austin's subtle plan to take over FlightSimCon.
That's Austin for you.
I'm president and co-founder of
FlyInside.
We've been developing virtual reality add-ons for flight simulators for about 2 years now. And today we're here to announce a big new product. So how many of you can say you're truly happy with the frame rate that your simulator provides, that you're impressed with the smoothness of it? Few of you? How many of you have upgraded graphics cards, say from a 900 series to a 1080 and barely seen your frame rate improve?
Yeah.
So, at FlyInside, we're virtual reality focused, and we've been pretty thoroughly unimpressed with simulator performance. So we actually decided to go ahead and start work on our own simulator. So today, we're here to demo FlyInside Flight Simulator.
What?
As far as FlyInside Flight Simulator goes, 60 hertz is a baseline, 90 hertz is where VR headsets are today. There's 144 frame per second monitors, and who knows what headsets will show us in the future. So we have a huge focus on performance. At the same time, we have a focus on beautiful scenery because there's no point in a simulator that runs fast and looks like a simulator from 20 years ago, and that's why it runs fast.
Or maybe you could have done it with Microsoft. You never know.
Our focus
That's a
is
possibility too.
on realistic terrain,
2004
huge numbers of buildings and autogen objects, and at the same time, we know you as a community invest in your simulators. You don't spend $25 on FSFX and that's the end of it. You collect freeware add-ons, you download payware add-ons. Some of you have thousands of dollars in airplanes, I've seen it.
Really?
And you're not going to want to give those all up to change simulators. That's, in fact, a pretty big issue.
You need a watermark.
And that's why what you see here is the TFDI 717. We're
Kind of like
focused
I'll have
on
my little hat to the bottom.
for existing FSX aircraft so that you can load them out of the box.
Sorry.
So for today, we're still very much under development, but if you'd like to try out our software, get a feel for it, come see us at our booth at 308, 309. We also have, I'll be giving a lot more details at my virtual reality seminar at 12:45 today. And aircraft developers, please come talk to me too. We'd like to work with you to make sure your aircraft is running very nicely with our software. That's all.
Hello, my name's Damien Clark with Hi-Fi Simulation Technologies. We're the developers of ActiveSky.
Yep.
Does anybody use ActiveSky here? Awesome. Thank you very much. Just wanted to talk a little bit today, go over real quickly about our history, where we are today, have a new product announcement, and then talk about our next step. So here we go. ActiveSky has been in development for 17 years now. We started in 2000. Released commercially first in 2002. Getting from there to here, it's taken a lot of work by a lot of different people. And a lot of talented developers. Our beta team is awesome. They help us along the way, making design decisions and testing it to make sure it's as solid as it can be. And our customers give us tremendous feedback. All of you guys who support us are pretty much the reason that we're here today, the reason that we're able to continue development. So thank you. So new for 2017, we just announced it. We have ASP4, ActiveSky for P3D version 4. It's been a lot of work preparing for it. We didn't get a chance to look at it until right before release, and we worked real hard to get that in your hands. It's now available in open beta, and you can actually try that right now if you have an AS16 for P3D license. And it will be a free upgrade for those users. It uses the same license key. And if you have any of our legacy products, you'll get a good discount upgrade price for that as soon as it's available. And it'll probably be about a week or two before that comes out. We're hoping that there's no further delays. It's going pretty good. So you can try that right now. We're going to have some more details posted very soon on that, so you can check our website at hi-fi-simtech.com. What's next? Well, ActiveSky for X-Plane. A lot of people have asked about this for a long time. We haven't been able to talk about it because, well, we weren't sure that we could actually do it. Finally, we've made some breakthroughs, and using some new visualization and depiction techniques, we're confident that in the next 6 months or so, we'll have some really good stuff to bring out to the community. It is too early right now to show you some stuff. It looks a little bit rough, but we're making tremendous progress, so we're excited to bring out more details on that. Other platforms. We get asked all the time about, are you going to develop for this platform, that platform? Absolutely. We want to develop for all platforms. It's just a matter of SDK, API extensibility. And if we can and when we can, we're going to support all platforms. So just to conclude, we have a lot of projects going on and we need help. So if you're interested, you want to join us and help push weather simulation further, we'd love to talk to you. We need graphics artists, programmers and testers, and just about anybody.
Yep, sign me up for testing.
If you're
I'm all over that.
I'll be here all weekend. And if you have any other questions, want to talk, just come find me. And thank you very much.
I would assume free.
It was about this time that I decided that I needed to get some interviews done, and of course I had already volunteered to help NovaWing 24 with his interviews by doing videography. So I left FlightSimGuy to continue his live streaming and, of course, to record what Laminar Research had to say about X-Plane 11, and eventually also record the big panel that we had later. What I'm going to do now for the rest of this video, I'm going to show you a photo montage of the rest of Saturday, set to music from my old band, Chaotic Playground. This is Shades of Grey.